Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Today's date is Wednesday, January 13th, 2016. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And Councilman Lombardi, I believe you're up for it. Thank you. Everybody please rise.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a moment to remain standing to remember those men and women who fought to provide us with the blanket of freedom that we live under each and every night.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Okay, welcome once again, everyone. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and thank you at home for watching this Town Board work session. For the record, all board members are present with us this evening, as is our Town Council, Greg Fulchetti, all the way down to my left. We have our Highway Superintendent, Mike Simone, is in the audience. He has a couple of items that he's going to address the board tonight, and Jimmy Gilchrist, our Recreation Director, is here also with some agenda items as well. At 6:30 p.m. this evening, the Carmel Town Board met in executive session with Councilman Jonathan Schneider to discuss a personnel matter. So let's begin the meeting. First item on the agenda is a review of the Town Board minutes of November 4th and 18th, December 2nd, and December 16th, 2015. Unless any board members have any comments on the minutes, we're going to move on. So the next item on the agenda, number 2, is to consider deletion to the active list of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. And I have correspondence here from the corresponding secretary of the fire department. Dear Mrs. Spofford, the following person has been dropped from the rolls of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. The person's name is Lauren Eichen. So Lauren Eichen is being removed from the rolls of the fire department effective next week when we vote on the, formally vote on it at the Town Board voting meeting. Any questions or comments regarding the fire department's matter? No. Okay, there being none, number 3. This is to consider a bond return for 15 Hillside Court, tax map number 55.6-1-51. There's correspondence here from the Planning Board Secretary to the Town Board. This is subject to a bond return, Hillside Court, 1819 Route 6, Carmel, tax map 55.6-1-51, bond register number 758. On December 9th, 2015, the Planning Board passed a motion recommending a bond return of the above captioned property. Attached is a fully executed bond application form from the town engineer, Rich Franzetti. His memo is dated October 21st, 2015, and the Director of Code Enforcement, Michael Carnazza, his memo is dated October 27th, 2015. Also, the Town of Carmel Planning Board Chairman, Harold Gary, has reviewed the application for the bond return, and he has signed off on this as well. And the date of his signature is 12/9/15. So this is a bond return in the amount of $278,000 for the stated project. Okay, does any board members have any questions or comments with respect to the bond return? It's been signed off by all the Town of Carmel consultants. Okay. Okay, moving on. Number 4, Mike Simone, Town of Carmel Highway Superintendent. This is to consider declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing the removal of same. Highway Superintendent is here for 4, 5, and 6 this evening. Mike, number 4?
And number 18.
And 8, oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Yep, there was one more added.
18 or
Number 18.
18?
Yep,
We can move that up.
we can move that.
Thank you.
We can move that up.
And thanks for the board for
All right.
considering that. Yeah, we have some computers and laptops that are obsolete, and we'd like to get them off our inventory. That's in front of you.
Okay, this is old equipment, technology equipment. We don't need to go through the whole list. Mike Simone is considering them obsolete and disposing, needs authorization to dispose of them.
Right.
Okay, board, any questions or comments regarding the disposal of old obsolete IT equipment?
Is any of it presently being used?
No.
It's all off already, so
Right.
we're good, everything's replaced and we're set.
Yes, yes. Yeah, when we did that IT line,
the rest
we were
of it.
pretty
Yeah.
much up to date with everything,
yeah.
so, yeah.
All right,
Perfect.
good idea. All right, any further questions or comments regarding number 4? Okay, there being none, number 5, Highway Superintendent Simoni, this is to consider request to purchase 2.5-yard poly sander installed from Hudson River Truck and Trailer for $5,325.
Right, I don't know if your board remembers, but at the end of last year, we got a lowboy, white lowboy that we purchased and put a plow on it. Now we'd like to put a poly sander on it. The county, we have, on our 2 other lowboys, we have stainless steel sanders. The county, I've been investigating and really fell in love with these poly sanders. They don't rust as anywhere near a metal sander or even the stainless steel. So in front of you also are 3 quotes that we got, and I'd like to purchase from Hudson River Truck and Trailer.
Okay, Hudson River being the lowest
Right,
vendor?
on the 2.5, right, right.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments from the board with respect to the purchase of the sanding body? 2.5-yard poly sander installed, Hudson River Truck and Trailer. Anybody? Susie, John?
No, nothing.
John, Jonathan, Frank? Okay. All right, thanks, Mike.
Okay,
Number 6, this is a request to consider, what's that?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is to consider authorizing payment of invoice number C67025 from Ben Funk Incorporated for $9,963.65.
right, and this is for a, last winter, we broke one of our four-wheel drive transfer cases. They spent the summer and whatever, and spring rebuilding it. We received it late in December, and again, we'll put this as a spare for our four-wheel drive units, but we need a transfer case as a spare, just in case. If it goes down, that truck is out of commission, so. I don't say that truck, that's a group of trucks that this will fit into, so.
Okay, all right, understood. Yep. Board, any comments or questions for the highway superintendent on number 6? No? Okay. Mike, thank you. All right, Mike, we're going to go to 18 now.
Thank you.
All right, so board, pull out number 18 from your packets. This is to consider awarding a bid for plow blade materials. Mike?
Yeah, going through, again, we fortunate not to have a lot of winter this winter, which is good, but we did have a little snow event back probably 10 days ago or so. We went through all our plows again. We had gone through them at the end of last year, but when we went through them, we realized that our inventory was low for replacement blades. Being the first of the year, I'd like to order these and get them in within the next month in case we do get it, and we do need extra plow blades on stock, so.
Do you go through them off, like, for example, last year, did you go through a lot of them?
The more snow you get, the more you.
No, no,
you know, right, yeah, I mean, that's,
on average, I'm saying.
I'm gonna tell you, I probably haven't bought these in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it.
Right, and now where stock is low, where last year, but I need to replace and have these in stock just in case.
Mike, is carbide a type of material?
The way we use a steel plow, a steel blade on the bottom of our plows, and we put a carbide running blade in front of it. What the carbide does is it's harder, it extends the life of the steel. So we're doing double blades on it. If you put a single steel blade on the front alone, it would wear out in probably 2 plowings. The carbide gives it life of up to 10 to 12 plowings.
Okay, thank you.
And this is off of a county bid, so.
Okay, any further questions for Mike regarding the plow blades? Let's hope you don't need them too often this
I'd be
this
happy
winter.
to leave them in stock, believe me.
Okay, Mike, thanks. All right,
Thank you.
that's it, Mike, for your agenda items. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Jimmy Gilchrist, you're up next. Jim is our Recreation Director for the town of Carmel, and Jim is here for 7, 8, and 9 on your agendas this evening. So number 7 is to consider renewal of the license agreement with American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, also known as ASCAP. Jim?
Yeah, this would be used for any kind of concerts that the town would sponsor, where fees are not attached. That would be our free concerts during the summer, our fall concerts, anything we do with the camps to senior citizens, so that will cover it. We've been paying this fee for going back to Tom Costello days, probably about 11 years ago, 11 years or so ago. They started coming around to all the towns, and this is a required fee. It's based on the population, and it's also based on a free concert, not a concert that would require any kind of funds. So based on our population, it would be $336 that we pay each year.
Okay, and this is something, as Jim stated, we do this annually for the ASCAP
Yes.
program, so.
Yep.
Yep, $336. Any questions or comments for Jim on this item? Nope, there being none. Jim, let's go on to number 8. Number 8 is to consider submission of the 2015 annual assessment to Putnam County Office of Children and Family Services.
Sure. This would be the follow-up from the grant that we had last year with the youth grant through New York State. And if you look through, you'll see how many participants we had in our programs. These would be the free classes that we offer over at Sycamore Park. And they asked us to break it down based on race and male, female, and all that. So we go through and tabulate that all, and then put it onto the form and submit it into the state. These funds have been going down. They're about half of what they used to be years ago. We would have, I think we went through a couple of years of 25% reductions as going forward. It's a tremendous amount of work for $4,400. As Ann knows, I mean, these forms are constantly coming in for Kenny to sign and fill out. We're filling I-9 forms out, all the insurance certificates and everything else that's required for it, so.
Jim, you want to just give the projected number of, you have here total enrollment, 213,
That was correct, yep.
and it projected 275, and actual was 213?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
That was based, the 275 was based on if every class was full and every class ran. We did have some classes that did not run.
All right. Bob, if you have any further questions, if you're going to do a story on this, on these grants, just contact Jimmy, okay? All right, thanks. Okay, any further questions for Jim Gilchrist on number 8? Okay, there being none, number 9, this is consider submission of 2016 notice of application to certify compliance with the New York State OCFS regulations.
Yep. And this is the same grant would be for next year. They are doing some changes. Every year they have mandatory meetings that we have to go to up at Putnam County with the Youth Bureau. They're actually, the state is requiring the counties to get involved and assist the towns through their transition. What they're planning on doing in 2017 are setting goals for the monies that they send to the towns and the counties. They want to have it for preventative of drugs, juvenile delinquency, and those kind of programs. So they want to know exactly where the money is going and how it's correcting some of that. So we might have to change up the programs that we're funding when it comes to that point. I think that the police will be fine through their DARE program,
Yeah,
but some of our youth programs, we were going to gear it towards our community days that we have. We have an egg hunt, we do a harvest fest, where we were going to try to apply for funds to offset those costs. But we're still negotiating back and forth with the state on that.
okay. All right. Yeah, well, while we're on this number, number 10 on your agenda, Board, is the same as what Jim just spoke about, but it's the Police Department's grant funding. Officer Frank Chabarro, Carmel PD, consider submission of annual grant application to Putnam County Office of Children and Family Services. It's what Jim just explained. It's very similar to, in fact, it is. It's the same, except the funding's going to the Police Department for youth programs within Town of Carmel PD. So, yeah, number 10. So we covered number 10 also. So you can check number 10 off, because Officer Chabarro is not here, but Jim explained what it's about.
Yeah, and Frank's numbers were based on, I'm assuming, the DARE program that he does through the school district.
Yeah.
And that's how he came up with those numbers.
Okay, all right. Any, Board, any questions for Jim Gilchrist regarding these items that we just discussed?
Susie, you want to, while I'm here, you want to hang up show the sign there?
Sure, at the last recreation committee, Jimmy did this sign, and this is at all of the parks. Camarda Park, Sycamore, McDonough,
Yeah,
the rink.
Yeah, John Lupinacci brought that to the Recreation Committee's attention probably about 3 or 4 months ago. I think he saw it at online or at another park somewhere with
Yeah.
his children
And
playing
we switched
soccer.
the wording a little bit.
So we changed it up. That's posted at all of our town parks where any competitive activities are going on. So,
It's unfortunate you need something like this, but it's a nice looking sign, and hopefully the parents and the kids will pay attention to it.
Let me see it.
But it's a nice
Turn it.
job, isn't it nice?
Yeah, I'm a kid.
You want me to read
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
says?
I can see it.
It says,
Hold on, wait.
I'm a kid, it's just a game, my coach is a volunteer, the officials are human, thank you and have fun.
Yeah.
So this is, it's already installed at all of the
they're installed in the parks, yeah.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Kenny,
Got it. Glasses.
yeah, all right.
You got it. Okay.
Jim, I just asked, when they install those, just like when they, like some of the other signs that you and I spoke about, that they're kind of in the way of the view of the game from those who sit on some
Those,
bleachers?
Frank, when we talked a
No,
couple years, I
those
took
came
all,
down right away.
all the signs are down.
Just make sure that,
Yeah,
you know,
these are on this would be in the entrance of
That's
coming
fine.
to a ball
Just make sure
field.
that you've
or,
seen where they're posted and,
Yeah, for instance, like up at the airport, it would be on the entrance road coming in.
okay.
So, yeah, Frank was right. We had a lot of signs that were all around the, where the,
On the fences and the
viewing,
backstops.
viewing areas would be, by the bleachers. No smoking signs and other signs like that. But we took those down and relocated them.
Okay, very good. All right, thanks, Jim.
You got, okay.
Okay, we're going to skip number 11 for right now, because I did speak to Chief Kazari. He's on his way. He asked us to hold on, not to cover his agenda item until he gets here. So we're going to skip number 11. Number 12 is to consider a waiver of notice of requirement in Section 64 of New York State ABC law with respect to a liquor license for La Casa Borgatti Incorporated. Hope I said that right. Okay. There's a letter here from Andrea O'Brien, ABC Law Consulting Group. They're a liquor license consultant, and enclosed is a 30-day notice to the municipality, party application for New York State Liquor Authority license. The above-mentioned applicant, La Casa Borgatti Incorporated, respectfully requests that you consider waiving this 30-day waiting period so that the application can be filed as soon as possible. The address is currently licensed under Ariano's Trattoria 2, and also this was the Ariano's up in Hamlet of Carmel, holds a license which will be surrendered to the New York State Liquor Authority upon approval of the new owner's license. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact myself, Andrea O'Brien, Liquor License Consultant. Okay, we've had an opportunity to review the application, and Town Council Greg Falchetti has also reviewed the application for completeness. Everything seems to have been, all questions have been asked and answered. So if, Greg, you okay with this?
Yeah.
Everything is complete and,
As long as the board is inclined to waive the period. I think it's close to it anyway, to be honest. But you can certainly do by next week, it'll be inside the 30
yeah,
days.
he is close.
We'll be inside the
Yeah.
30-day period.
Okay. All right, board, have any questions, comments, concerns about the 30-day liquor license waiver?
No.
It's 20th is when it's filed, so today's the 13th, right? So
Next week, it
next
will be
week
the
is-
30th.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
It's not open yet.
Huh?
It's not open yet.
No, no. All right, next item on the agenda, 13, Joel Greenberg. Joel Greenberg, Architectural, is here with us. This is to consider a re-granting of open development status to Wixon Pond Estates subdivision, tax map number 53.20-1-19. Joel Greenberg, as I said, is here with us. So Joel, do you want to bring us through your request?
Yeah, sure. This board has been generous in granting a renewal a couple of times. Unfortunately, the project has to get approval from the New York City DEP. We started with them probably in around 2003, 2004, and we didn't get our approval till last year. Now, the last leg of this is to get the Putnam County Health Department, which we're in the process of doing, and then once we get that, we can go back to the planning board for final approval. But the open development you granted last time was for 2 years, which expires shortly, so we'd like to have an extension of that. I feel fairly confident that this will be the last one.
Yeah, is this the third one?
Yeah.
Third? All right.
Although, the old saying, the third time is the charm.
Yes, true. Joel, I see the letter from the DEP
Yes,
was dated June 4th of 2014.
correct.
Does that expire?
No, that
Their
in
approvals,
fact,
do
that was
they?
it. That's good for 5 years.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Within 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so hopefully you'll
It'll be, yes,
be before us, before the 5
absolutely.
years.
No, I will not.
Okay, all right. Okay, Board, I think most of us, or all of us were on the board last time
Yes.
Joel, yeah, we were.
Same
All
board.
5 of us.
Yes.
Last time Joel came before us, so are you familiar with this application? Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns at this point for the regranting for Wixon Pond Estates? Suzie?
No, I,
John, no?
Got the
Jonathan,
letter.
Frank? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Joel.
When's the voting meeting?
Next Wednesday.
Oh, next, okay.
Okay.
Very good.
The-
It's in May.
Huh?
Be here at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, no, just,
Well, if it's in May, I don't need the heavy coat then, do I?
the 20th,
Okay.
January 20th, 7 PM.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you
Joel.
very much.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, Chief Kazari is here with us. Chief, can you come up? Hi, Chief.
Evening.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Okay, number 11, this is to Chief Kazari, consider awarding bids for purchase of police uniforms, cleaning of police uniforms, and daily cleaning of the police department. So, you want to start with the uniforms? Purchasing of the uniforms. I know.
Yeah, so, so the purchasing of the uniforms, we put out the bid again this year. Two companies, both reliable, that we've used in the past, Rosen's and New England Uniform. In the items that we regularly purchase, the shirts and the pants, it's a difference of just over $5. So I asked that we go with New England Uniform, a reliable company that, you know, we have a good relationship with.
I can recall doing business with New England Uniform for 25 years back, at least, right? 30 years even.
30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are a reputable company. They're in Danbury. I think they're still there, right?
Yep,
In
well, they
Danbury?
moved
Yeah.
since when we were first, when we were new, but yeah,
Yeah,
they're still in Danbury, Exit 5.
yeah. Okay. You're familiar with them,
Calls
John, right?
for an old joke, but I'll let it go.
All right. Mike, did you cover the cleaning of the uniforms also? Or
Yes,
that was
dry-
just the purchase of them?
That was just purchase, and then for the dry cleaning,
Yeah, cleaning.
the two companies was Sal's and Carmel Cleaner. Carmel Cleaner is 5 cents less per unit, so, you know, I asked that we go back to Carmel Cleaner, which, again, that both we've done business with for years, and, you know, we have no complaints with either one. Please.
Okay. All right, excellent. All right, Mike, on the final item that you're here for, the daily cleaning of the police department,
We didn't bid that out.
you didn't bid it because, as you know, the town board is outsourcing, or we're considering outsourcing the cleaning of the building, which would include the police department. So in the RFP that went out, Rich isn't here, the engineer's not here, but I believe that was included in the RFP, the bids that went out.
That's what
So-
Mr. Franzetti had told me, yes.
Yeah, we're waiting for those to come back. They're out, we're just waiting for them to be back, to be opened and read. So, what did you want to do with this? So we'll hold off on the cleaning of the PD?
Yeah, we'll
As
just.
far as
we'll have
awarding
it-
any,
Yeah, we'll continue as we're going, and hopefully you'll get a good bid.
oh, there he is. Hey, Rich, when are the bids due back for the facility maintenance, the cleaning of the building?
Next Friday, there's a meeting, sorry, Chief. Next Friday, not this Friday, a week from this upcoming Friday.
23rd. Okay. All right, and Rich,
22nd.
yeah, so just for our edification, and everybody, it's known, the PD was included in that, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, all right,
I'm just
so,
confirming the date, that's why I'm going on
Okay.
the,
I think it's the 22nd, isn't next Friday?
excuse me?
22nd is next Friday?
Yes.
So Mike, the cleaning,
There's a mandatory meeting tomorrow for walkthroughs, so we can, if you're available, we can have them visit with you. Can't get this open. So there'll be, folks coming in, they'll be here tomorrow.
okay. Any, do you anticipate, how many numbers do you anticipate? How many companies picked up the bid packets for this?
You know, I have not looked and spoken with Ann, so I don't know that number off the top of my head. I apologize.
Okay, no, not a problem. All right. So Chief, we'll continue using the company that's cleaning it now. They'll just continue providing that service until further notice. You know, when we make a determination on what we're going to
Thank you.
do as far as the bids, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. All right, did you have anything else?
No, a bunch for the 27th, but
A lot for the
quite a few items
Yeah, a
for
lot
the
for the
27th.
27th, yeah, and the 3rd also, right? There'll be something on the 3rd? Okay, all right, good. All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Okay, next on the agenda, Rich Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer. He's actually here for 1, 2, 3, 4 items on the agenda. 14 on the agenda is to consider accepting a proposal for the landfill monitoring. Rich?
Thank you. As the town board is aware, monitoring of the town of Carmel landfill is an ongoing requirement that must be performed in accordance with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation regulations. As such, the Controller's Office has provided a line item in the 2016 budget, and funding is available for 2016. Zion Environmental has provided the engineering department with a proposal to continue monitoring the services at the landfill. They have been performing these services adequately for the town since 2009, and therefore this department recommends that their proposal be accepted.
Okay, all right. Any questions on number 14, Board? This is regarding the landfill monitoring. This is mandatory from the New York State DEC, who issued the town of Carmel the permit for the landfill and approved the capping of the landfill. We have to, it's a monitoring program that is going to continue on for quite a while.
And I remember we did a bid for maintaining it as well.
We
I think
did.
it was a 3-year bid. Was it 14,000 that we paid for that annually?
It's $20,000 on the initial year and $15,000 for the subsequent years, for 3 years total, with the option, unilateral option for the town to add 2 or more years after that at $15,000.
So,
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you. All right, we should get, Rich, do you want to mention it?
go right ahead.
All right, I'd like to see a multi-year on this also, the landfill monitoring. You know, this is an annual, we do this every year. Maybe we can get a 3-year proposals from Zion or whomever, all right? But I think it should also, because the maintenance of the landfill, the cutting of the landfill and the trimming and such, that's a 3-year agreement, 3-year contract. I'd like to see that with this also, so it's not before us annually every year. Maybe we can lock them in for a proposal or a price that is good for 3 years.
Do you need me to do that for this particular round, or do you want to just set it up for next year to do 3 years? Just tell me how you'd like me to do it.
Me personally, I think you should set it up for next year.
Okay.
This year is done already, we already have their price for 2016. I think for 17, 18, and 19.
Okay.
17, we'll see if you can get a 3-year price.
Just so the board is aware that
That we-
Zion has been doing it for the same price since 2009, so they have not raised their rate at all. So I don't think that would be an issue with them to give a multi-year, you know, as long as they're maintaining that
Well,
cost.
then why don't you just call, I mean, obviously we'll award this, but why don't you just call them and say, just extend it for 2 more years after this, and if it's the same price, we're done.
Okay,
right?
I can ask him that question.
For what, 16, 17, and 18?
Yeah,
Or
if it's,
maybe
if
just
the price
extend it
hasn't,
out through our 2-year extension
if
on
the
the
price hasn't
maintenance, and then
changed
just get
since
them in the cycle.
2009, it's not gonna change anything further, so just
How many years?
roll
are
it
left?
through.
How many years are left on the maintenance?
How many are left in that maintenance? Are we in our 3rd year of that
It'll
contract now?
be, 2016 will be the 3rd year.
So then we'll have another 2
Two.
to renew after this.
Right.
Correct.
So let's see if we could just do that, and then just get it all in a cycle together.
Run
and handle
concurrently?
it all Yeah, that's,
Oh, right.
and then see if there's a long-term solution with what the town could do instead of just maintaining that, but I don't think there are many options with sales of landfills these days, right?
Well, you might be able to sell the methane gas that's coming out of it. That might be, all
Another discussion.
right.
That- Billboards all over. No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Solar panels would be the way to go.
So, I'm sorry, Rich, how many years are left on the maintenance agreement? Two?
This year is the
This year?
third year, and then there's the option for us to extend it 2 more years. So it's gonna have to come back to the board next year anyhow.
So 1 to 3.
One to, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, Rich. Got it. Any further questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay. All right, Rich, number 15, consider request to attend a workshop, New York State DEC, March 9th, 2016, in Pleasant Valley, at the Pleasant Valley Library at no cost to the town.
So a flyer was forwarded to my attention by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. It's in regards to FEMA levy training being sponsored by New York State DEC and hosted by Dutchess County. The topic is relevant to the Town of Carmel Water Districts and Lake Districts. I respectfully request permission to attend that training. It's on, March 9th from 1:30 to 4:30 at the Pleasant Valley Library, and there is no cost.
Yeah, no problem, Rich. And the office is covered?
It will be covered.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions for the one-day training?
It's actually half a day, sir.
It's actually half a day, yeah, thank you. Yeah, up in at the Pleasant Valley Library, DEC seminar? No? Okay. Thanks, Rich. All right, number 16, consider granting an out-of-district water connection for Janek Realty, tax map number 74.11-1-21. And just for the benefit of the public, I believe this is the Secor Deli that's located on Secor Road, but it's not just the deli, it's the buildings.
It's
all
the complex
the
behind
complex.
it, which includes offices and other type of facilities in the back.
Okay, all right. Okay, Rich, all right, go ahead with this.
So as the board, the engineering department received a request for this out-of-district connection for the reference project. It's just for a water district, out-of-district water connection in Water District 3, which is the Lake Secor Water District. Right now, the individual well and water supplies currently serving the site has tested high for nitrates, and the applicant would like to connect into the existing water main directly across the street from the project site. The engineering department have requested information from the controller's office to determine back capital taxes. The controller computed those back capital charges at an amount of $21,044.94. And in addition, the controller provided the 2015 water consumption rate for Carmel Water District 3, which is $3.25 per 1,000 gallons. Per town code, this rate is increased by 50% for out-of-district users, and the water consumption rate for this property would be $4.0875 per 1,000 gallons. The department did advise the applicant that the back capital cost, as provided in the attached correspondence, and that they would have to pay for that, and in order to move forward, that they would have to provide a technical report, which they did. They provided the information. The applicant is requesting that a flow of 700 gallons per day as part of this out-of-district connection. The engineering department performed an assessment and found that the out-of-district connection is acceptable and sufficient capacity exists in Carmel Water District 3 to allow for this out-of-district connection. So if the town board approves this connection, the applicant is aware of a bunch of next steps that are needed, that they have to sign an out-of-district agreement, pay the application fees, pay a meter fee, obtain the necessary permits from the engineering department and regulatory agencies to make the cuts across the road, and that's essentially it. So this department requests that the town board consider authorizing the out-of-district request.
Rich, when you use the word there is sufficient capacity, are you referring to the chart that's on the last page? What is, I mean, I don't have an issue with it, I'm just asking, what does sufficient capacity mean?
It's able to handle the additional, the increased demand from the 700 gallons per day.
And what would they be left with after that? Would that be?
I'm looking at that right now. We generate 137,645 gallons per day, and we'd only be using about 100,000 with that extra 700 gallons, and that's maximizing the additional empty spaces that are on within Lake Secor. That's a very conservative estimate. So we'd have about a capacity of 37,000, or 37% capacity. within Lake Secor.
We would have 30%,
37,000 gallons.
left, or?
Yeah, yes.
Right, okay.
And that's a very conservative estimate, assuming that the one commercial property can be converted into a laundromat with 8 machines, which would be adjacent to the existing laundromat, which is there. So I just did a very ultra-conservative type of approach to make sure that there was sufficient capacity for this connection, and there is.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Rich, the building adjacent to this particular parcel, it says Benvenuto's on it.
Yes,
Are they connected to the water main?
yes. They already have an out-of-district connection.
Okay. All right, does this parcel have any applications pending before the planning board for any change of use?
Currently, they do not.
All right. Last question, are they gonna cut the road, or are they gonna directional bore under the road to tap into the main?
I believe that they are cutting the road. They have to have a traffic plan installed, and they'll have to work with the county on that.
Secor Road being a county road?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments with respect to the out-of-district? We've granted these in the past, and evidently, we did grant the one next door, the Benvenuto property next door, where that parcel is. Years ago, we must have granted them approval to add an out-of-district use, connect to the main, so I'm okay with this. I don't have an issue with it as long as, and everything, all the back capital charges have been paid, and all the fees that are levied are paid, and, you know,
Right,
there's no
there's-
additional cost to the town.
Right, the back capital has not been paid until the town board actually approves the out-of-district connection, then they'll have to pay the back capital taxes, so
Got it. Yeah, before we should,
it's part of your approval process.
okay. All right. Anybody have any further questions, comments on this? John, down here, Susie?
No.
John? No? Okay. All right. Thanks, Rich. All right, last item on the agenda tonight is also with Rich Franzetti. This is to consider accepting proposal for the variable frequency drive, also known as the VFD, for process aeration blower for Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
So Severn Trent Environmental Services, the operators of Carmel Sewer District 2, alerted the engineering department that the variable frequency drive at one of the process aeration blowers has failed. STES requested and received quotes to replace the unit. Mid-Atlantic Electric had the lowest price at $7,142.85. The labor for Owens Electric to install the VFD is $1,760, so the total cost of replacement for and installation of the VFD is $8,902.85. The original this is a VFD that is about 20 years old, and the life expectancy of the new one is about 10 to 15 years old. Currently, there is only one blower in operation, and a redundant blower is required as the existing blower supplies air for biological process. We spoke with the county controller, and there are sufficient funds in the sewer 2 budget, and therefore we recommend that the purchase of the VFD from Midland Electric and the installation by Owens Electric for a total cost of $8,900, whatever, and 85 cents be approved by the board.
$8,902.85. Okay, Board, this is for Carmel Sewer District Number 2, up in the hamlet of Carmel. Any questions, comments regarding this item? Susie, John, Jonathan? All right. Anything?
No, so out of the 2 blowers that were there, one failed, we're replacing the failed blower, bringing it back up so we have redundancy.
Actually, there are 3 blowers, 2 of them have failed, but the other one is having the motor repaired and has already been repaired. They failed on the same day.
So we're gonna have 3 working motors, we only have to buy 1 more.
Yes. This is a VFD, though. This is what operates the motor, so there's a
A lot more to it.
2 out of the 3 motors work, and 2 out of the 3 VFDs work. But unfortunately, the motor that failed and the VFD that failed were on 2 separate units. And it's a matter of, by the time you rewire everything, you're better off just fixing the motor and putting the VFD in correctly, because it just wouldn't be cost-effective. And you need the 3 units anyway. 2 of them need to, you can operate with 1 on a short-term basis. You definitely need 2 working. So, and they've already fixed the other motor because that was under the purchasing threshold.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Okay, Rich, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, as I stated, that was the last item on the agenda this evening. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor to public comment on agenda items at this time. Any agenda items that we covered this evening, the floor is open to any public comment on those. Okay, there being none, is anyone here for any new business this evening? Any new business? Yes, Mike?
Good evening, Mike Borelli. Regarding the reval, several weeks ago, I asked, if you guys would postpone it for a year to look further into New York City and to get it done correctly. I see you postponed it, but I don't think it was for that reason. The reason for postponing it is why?
It's timeline.
Jonathan, you
Yeah,
want to?
absolutely. The biggest reason for postponing it is just in regards to timeline. As of December, I believe it was 5th or the 8th, somewhere in there, we expected to have all of our numbers where they were all verified, everything was ready to go to be presented to the public so that the public could have time to review everything for a meeting that was scheduled for tonight. In regards to the timeline for homestead option, tax shift analysis, all these regulations that come down from New York State, it's a very particular timeline where we have to be in line with not only our town, but the other towns that would be affected through school districts. So we've had meetings with school districts, with other town assessors, county assessors. We could crunch it down and get it to be approved in the timeline for this year's tax roll, but we don't feel that it would be the most appropriate way to present this. We don't feel that it would be appropriate for the public to not have the information and enough time to digest it before making decisions. Those are the majority of the reasons, and since we can't just tell the state we're going to extend it by a month, and we only have one shot to do it each year, we made the decision that it was going to be best for the project's thoroughness to ensure that we,
So you have to postpone
to
it
do
for a
it
year.
right.
Do we have
Correct,
the-
it has to
Do
be
we have the
postponed for
numbers
a
from
year.
Vision yet?
we do, we've had a few different sets of numbers. There's been discussion between the assessor's office and Vision, and that's part of where we're at, is trying to make sure that everything is in line with New York State real property tax assessments. And that's why the assessor and Vision are working on their communications to ensure that the numbers we get are in line with what everybody feels is the best presentation.
When do you feel we're going to have all the numbers in line?
Now because we're gonna extend the timeline by a year, everything is gonna be based on an assessment date as of, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it's July 1st, 2016. So the assumption that I have, and we haven't gotten an updated timeline yet, but we're going to be looking sometime after that date, because we have to compile those numbers, because it's effective on that date with all improvements. That would be through March 1st of 2017.
When were Vision's numbers supposed to be in?
We wanted to have everything finalized and agreed upon, like I said, that December 5th to the 8th timeframe, in order to have the numbers out there for.
So obviously, Vision's numbers are not in to your satisfaction in December to have it done by this spring.
I would say that we didn't feel 100% confident in everything for presentation, and we didn't feel that rushing the project to get numbers where we wanted it to be before tonight's hearing that we had wanted to have scheduled for Homestead hearing would have given enough time for any resident to have actually been able to digest the information, never mind us as decision makers having the appropriate amount of
Well,
time for
that
that.
kind of scares me as a taxpayer, because I've been worried about Vision's numbers all along, especially with regard to our biggest taxpayer, which is the city of New York. And if the numbers are supposed to be in December, and we don't have them yet where we're comfortable with them, how am I supposed to feel comfortable if they're late on providing the numbers when they provide the numbers? I mean, I'm getting a little even more leery now about Vision's capability of doing it correctly.
We didn't get all the numbers.
Excuse me?
We did not receive all of the numbers.
No, I know that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you were supposed to by December.
Right, now that
So what I'm
timeline
saying
for
is if
December.
Vision didn't deliver the numbers by December, where everybody's happy with them, where we went according to plan, and they bring them in 3 months or 6 months late, I just hope that in the next year that we put this off, that we look at some experts to double-check the work that the experts did. And let's just leave it at that, because I have a very uneasy feeling about the outcome of this reval. And the fact that it was supposed to be in by December, you were going to have a public hearing tonight for the homestead, and then enact it in 30 or 60 days. I think it's cut a little short, cut a little tight. And instead of having one public hearing, which I think if you did that, you would have had a nightmare here tonight. You would have had 1,000 people. Why isn't, when this public hearing was canceled, why didn't you schedule another one for next month, or even keep this one open just to see what people have to say? Why wait till the numbers come in?
We're gonna do that.
Yeah, if you don't-
We're gonna set some public hearings for that, because it's not fair to the public just to
Right.
have one meeting
And not at the end of,
and not.
At the
right,
end.
right.
No, but we do want to have some information first. So we have to get compiled data. To have a public hearing and have nothing other than what everyone believes may happen is going to be something completely against what I feel would be an informed and intelligent discussion.
you're a numbers cruncher, I could understand that.
In regards to the timeframe,
But a lot
I
of people
could-
don't understand what's even going on.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
Right,
We don't
that's
need a
what I'm
public
saying.
hearing for that. Those are work sessions. And we'll have more. I have no problem with that, because that's more of a work session item. Discussion of what homestead is, how it's enacted,
Yeah.
bring down that expert John Willem again. All these things will happen, but a public hearing, I don't think we're gonna have a public hearing until we have numbers, because work sessions are to give information, and I think public hearings are when we're gonna be
When are we
ready
expecting?
to vote on
The
things.
public's input to make a
When do you feel the numbers are going to come in now, 90 days?
No, because we have to have the new assessment date as of July 1st, 2016. If they were to come in 90 days, we don't have any of that information.
So 6 months.
At least.
At least 6 months,
At least.
minimum.
So, again, part of the delay, and agreed and rightfully so, it was a very crunch timeline. Part of the delay started right off the bat. We had delays in regards to contract negotiations to ensure that everything was looked out for, and both sides had thought that it was going to be a timeline that we could all work with and get the information in a timely manner and get it out to the public in a timely manner. But as we got closer, and as we got to the date where we felt it was the point of no return, even though New York State says, no, you still have, I believe it was over 45 days, we could still be working on this. We could still make the decision in the future and still have it enacted. But for presentation to the public, we feel that it would be greatly rushed, and it wouldn't be an appropriate amount of time for the public to have the input. So that really is the main reason for this
I
delay.
have no problem if you take all the time in the world, as long as the end gets done correctly.
And that's the most important part of the project, is to ensure that it's 100% valid at
So
state
now that we
level.
see that we need more time, and we have that time, let's look at some other issues besides waiting for their numbers, and just try to double-check the work they're doing. Two other things. Now that the highway department was called out a couple of times in the middle of the night to sand and salt the roads, how's their contract negotiations coming?
We've had discussions between their attorney and our attorney, and we are working on a date. They were playing phone tag, both of them, all week last week, and I spoke to the highway department union head, and we are working on it.
So you've had conversations with the highway department,
With the highway department, with Michael Stern.
with Michael Stern? Okay, I know him.
You know him, right?
And that was, that was last Wednesday evening specifically.
Okay.
I know you know him.
I know him, yeah.
Yeah. But more importantly, more than importantly than our discussion, preliminary discussions, is the fact that
I don't
We're
talk
working
to
on
him, I don't talk to him about this, so there's no
whether you,
problems at home.
whether you do or not, the fact of
Okay.
the matter is,
That's why I asked you.
I'm just telling
Because
you.
he obviously didn't tell me, I wouldn't have asked that question.
No, that's fine. No, you can ask the question, not just for yourself, but for the public.
Okay.
We've had that discussion, and we've asked our attorney, and he's asked his attorney to work on a date, and they're gonna be presenting a couple of some papers back and forth, so hopefully now that they've seen some other contracts, CSCA and the arbitration, that maybe we can get that one finished as well. And I think we're all on the same, we all on the same page to try and
Okay.
get it resolved, okay?
One last thing. About a year ago, you had a sign public hearing here. and you were trying to clean up Route 6 and clean up some signs that are still out there. And the chamber came in, it was a big show, but what's happened with it?
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
We're
And the
gonna-
reason why I'm asking that is
Gonna
because
revisit it.
there's still a 4x8
Yep.
sign
Yeah.
in the right-of-way, and the signs in the right-of-way now are growing.
Yeah, we're going to redo it and ask for input again, but it's not going to be stalled any longer. You know, we've asked for input from the business owners, we've asked for input from the residents, and
getting
we're
anything?
just going to from the chamber, yeah, we're going to start to move forward with it again. And, you know, again, this is an open invitation. If any business owners in the town of Carmel want to be part of this, to contact us, any of us. It doesn't have to be myself, it could be any of us, because we are going to start, because that needs to be done.
Okay. And when I say they're I'm sorry.
No,
When I
please go
say
ahead.
they're in the right-of-way, I'm not talking the right-of-way on the grass now. They're in the right-of-way in the road.
Now, that's what I was
Right.
just talking about. That's against our code, and we'll
That's-
address that with the building department, because that shouldn't be at all.
The building department's been addressing it on a weekly basis. They do a good job, but they come back out.
I actually if we're talking about the same sign, I actually just noticed that, like, last week, and I've been meaning to ask, are we talking about,
Frank, a
Where-
statement like that'll just upset me.
excuse me?
A statement like that'll just drive me crazy. I got to be honest with you.
No, no, I don't know what you're referring to, or what you're talking about.
You just noticed the 4x8
No,
sign?
no, no, if it's a particular sign.
Okay, go ahead.
A particular sign that just popped up in the last week or,
It's been out for over a year.
no, then no. There's another sign, not far from here, that just popped up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, they're popping up.
Yeah, but
Yes.
please don't, but, again, I know everything that's going on in town. but
Okay,
what
I was
you're
gonna
saying-
say, I know you've
No,
seen the sign.
I thought you meant a new sign just popped up.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, something just popped up, I think, like, right around New Year's Day.
Yeah,
And I don't even know
Couple
what
of
that
them.
is. I don't
Couple of
even
them.
know, like, what it's referring to. or-
Actually, 3 signs there.
Three
When you-
signs,
there
yeah.
there are
Three there.
three or four, there are 3 or 4.
But I've been meaning to ask you
Yeah.
what those were
And this
all
was
about.
exactly the point that I brought up that night. If you let one,
Yeah.
they
But I don't
will
know who put those-
continue.
I don't know who put those up.
By the way, I also spoke to the building inspector last Tuesday, Wednesday, and asked him to, if he has any new things that he's noticed over the last year or two that the
He
town.
he can't keep up.
I'm not just talking about signs, though, I'm talking about anything in the building code or aesthetics of the town that he thinks that we should be doing, and he's
You
gonna
don't want to get
present
into
us-
that with me now here either,
That's
because
fine.
we'll be here till midnight.
Well, I mean, that's fine. All I'm saying is each year, we've been rolling out new and new proposed
Let's leave
legislation
it at
for.
that. Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, is there anyone else here for new business, open forum portion of the meeting where you can come up and speak on town-related business? Must be a homeowner, property owner, business owner to speak and to address the board, and we have a 3-minute maximum, sir, so would you like to come up? I know, but... Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jack Coxon. I live at 137 Bullet Hole Road in the Mayapack sector of the town. This evening, I wanted to address and share some remarks and observations with the board on the administrative study that was published by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services for the Town of Carmel Police Department. The study was published in 2007. I have a copy of the study here. According to the report, the study is not what is important, but that it documents a professional assessment of the need for change where such need might exist. Further, the report states that the value of the study is directly proportional to the attention given to it and its recommendations in terms of implementation and periodic review. So over the next 2 minutes, I think I can ask, why hasn't this report seen the light of day in the last 9 years? The findings at that time were that there were 35 sworn officers and 8 civilians in 2007, and quoting from the report, currently at the bare minimum of patrol staffing. So let's fast forward to tonight. There were 29 sworn officers, 2 new hires to be sworn in, totaling 31 officers. So if this report has any value, The Carmel Police Department is currently minus 4 officers to reach the status of, at bare minimum staffing of the 2007 report. The report additionally recommended an additional minimum of 1 full-time police officer. And since this time, the erosion of the bare minimum staffing went unchecked for the past 9 years. Tonight, we're actually short not 4 officers, but 5 to reach the recommendations of that report over 9 years ago. In the current operation, there's a significant vacancy also in supervision. So when I look at an accounting of today's department, I find that while the defined complement reaches 31, in fact, because of retirement and disability, the department is short 2 supervisors. Now, what that translates into, compared to the number suggested, and if the officers that I'm referring to are the lieutenant's positions, what that transfers into compared to these numbers is that we were actually operating right now on a daily basis of a deficit of 7 officers. Additionally, the absence of ranking supervision is a strategic deficit to the well-functioning department. Another recommendation from this report, again in 2007, called for an increase in the detective division. So I think we can safely conclude that DCGS found significant numbers of officers are needed to meet the demands on the department. The study also recommends that the department obtain the New York State Division of Criminal Justice's accreditation status. Now, this is a well-earned status of police departments, and some that I am associated with have really worked very hard to make their department a much more professional and much more community service-oriented police department. I urge the board to make that goal for this police department. This accreditation has 4 guiding principles: to increase effectiveness and efficiency of law enforcement, to promote increased cooperation and coordination among law enforcement, to ensure the appropriate training of law enforcement officers, and most importantly for me as a taxpayer, to promote public confidence in law enforcement agencies. I want to turn to another recommendation from DCJS that I also think is deficit, and that's the physical plant. Simply stated, the study found that the current plant needed to be replaced or renovated to provide a facility more conducive to the needs of the department and therefore the public. So a question: has any consideration by this board been given to the infrastructure needs of a modern post-9/11 world police department charged with the personal safety of citizens? Now, quoting the study, the building appears to be in extremely poor condition. Further, there appears to be numerous OSHA violations, building code violations, and fire code violations. And what I would say is the most important on the critical list of sightings is that numerous structural contradictions.
No,
Am I over 3
yeah,
minutes?
you're referring to a 2007 study?
Yeah.
It's 2016.
And
I
nothing
could
has
tell
been-
you,
Okay.
excuse me, that is not current. I could tell you that OSHA, and PESH.
Okay.
You know what PESH is? Public Employees Safety and Hazard. They did an inspection here in August of 2015. They didn't identify any of those violations that you're referring to. Don't exist.
All
So,
right.
sir, that's a 2007 study. Please, let's discuss current
Okay, all right.
physical plant of the Carmel Police Department. I'm in agreement with you. Do they need a new facility? Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're in agreement. As far as the accreditation, former Chief Johnson looked into that. We were going to begin an accreditation study. The physical plant does not allow for it. It doesn't have a Sally port. You need a Sally port. You know what a Sally port
Yes.
is, right? You need one of those. That's one of the requirements that's an absolute must in order for an agency to become accredited. I'm familiar with the accreditation requirements. We'll never meet those in this current facility. A future facility, if and one day that we do locate a site for a new law enforcement judicial center, absolutely, it'll have all that. But currently, no.
That's right. And so when I'm looking for, as I see some of these things, I'm glad to hear some of the things that either were incorrectly stated by the DCJS.
Well, no, it may have been correctly stated in 2007.
All right.
And that was on a study that was published in 2007
Yes.
with data that was compiled for, I believe, almost 2 years previous to us.
previous.
So we're 10 years
The
past.
report
but-
does refer significantly to 2006 and 2004. And there are charts in the report that indicate that that seems to be where they were looking.
That was a long time ago.
And
It is a long time ago, but I think it's fair to say that a lot of the, I think the point I'm driving is that some of the things that we are dealing with today are a lack of us addressing the things that need to be over the 9 or 10 years this is report. So if you and I recognize as generally as citizens that there should be some sort of look to the accreditation and therefore some sort of compliance with those accreditation standards, that building's not going to be built overnight. There's going to have to be some thought and study into that. Is there any thought and study into that building now?
I could tell you, we, when Chief Johnson was here once again.
Yep.
An architect was brought in to examine the physical plant and this building for expansion, to determine whether or not the existing square footage can be expanded within the police department, and the answer was no. Based on the footprint that we're operating in currently, we cannot expand the building to enlarge the PD's facility. So that was out of the question. But we did look into it. We did have an architect come in. In fact, Chief Johnson walked the site, myself, with the architect, and his determination was that we could not. So they're working within the walls of what they have downstairs now. Is it tight? Absolutely. Could they use another facility? No question about it. And it's going to come down to cost.
Of course, everything is a number.
So-
I understand that. So are we looking? Is there an engagement to come up with some alternatives to what we all appear to agree is an overtight, inadequate, and not a current age facility?
Sir, I just don't understand the impetus behind you referring to a 2007 study. By the way, you understand we're living under a 2% tax cap world, correct, sir?
I work for
You work for a school district. I know you do. I found out 9 o'clock the next morning, I got a dozen phone calls telling me where you work. And that's fine. So you should understand.
I understand your
the
burden.
restraints. So how can we build another building that's going to cost $7-8 million?
I may be out of sorts.
If you'd like to go around to, please don't take my comments as disrespectful. I'm not being. I'm trying to make you understand that Putnam County was just named for, I don't know, the 9th, 10th time in a row, the safest county in the state of New York. Part of it has to do with because the town of Carmel is the largest town in Putnam County, and we are the safest. We continue to be the safest. So our police department is not lacking in any way, shape, or form. And just to repeat what I said last week, as of January 1, we have more police officers on the street than we did the day before. So that will address some of the numbers with regard to personnel.
Okay, so
Again, when you know, 2% is 2%. I mean, I don't know what your school district did last year, but I know what ours here, what we did, and what we are doing so much more today than we did back in 2007. Do you know what the mortgage tax revenue to the town of Carmel was in that year?
Sir, I am
Want me to tell
really
you?
ignorant of those things.
I'm gonna tell you. It was $3.5 million of tax revenue, mortgage tax revenue was coming into. We don't build anything here. We don't manufacture. We receive tax. You know what it was last year, and the year before that, and the year before that? Anywhere from 600 to 800,000.
Does that mean that we're not building? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sorry?
We're not building?
No, that's not what I'm saying is.
No, it means that we're prioritizing all projects, because I think everyone's acknowledging what you're saying, and I think everyone would like to be able to build a new police station. I think a lot of people would like to build a new rec facility, a community center, and quite honestly, when we deal with all of the highway department also, As you start
We'd
to
like 10
watch
trucks
more
a
of the
year.
meetings or
We can't
get
give 'em 10
involved
trucks a year.
and observe, we have, what is it now, 8 sewer districts and 13 water districts that sadly are coming to their expected life or even past their expected life. So we're looking at all, we're also looking to obtain a grant writer to start helping us look for the funding to offset the cost. But there's a lot of projects, and this is one of them that we're trying to juggle. Is it is it on the hot seat? No, it's not. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not because we're against the police or we don't want the police. It just, we're looking at a lot of things and a lot of, availability of land, and we're trying to prioritize.
I appreciate that, and I also appreciate, I know the 2%, it's actually a misnomer.
You're right.
It's less.
It's actually less,
This
you're
year
right.
was
less.
0.73.
Right.
It's
Less
less.
than 1.
Right. Now, I don't know, if I may share, you know what happens in a school district. We ask the voters to pass the bond to help for buildings. I don't know if that's applicable to towns. I don't know, so I'm certainly not suggesting that you haven't looked. I'm just asking, are we looking? And is it an active look, even though it might be not number 1 on a 10 list? It is an important list. And if we have a building that's 10 or 12 years ago cited to be inadequate, it certainly has to be magnificently more inadequate. And that's one of the things I'm raising. Now, the reason I ran to that report is because I suggested it last night that I wanted to educate myself a little more fully. These are the reports that I found. I'm still waiting for some contact with that merger fellow, but I think I came away from the meeting last night last week very well impressed that this board, and I want to say I agree with you and you agree with me. It's not the level. There's a certain sentiment that I found from the board that was proficiently in favor of its police department. These are the concrete things that I think that tells me the board would like to accomplish, recognizing priority.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just to piggyback on that, when myself and Councilman Lupernacci were first elected 4 years ago, one of the things that was visited was in regards to infrastructure, that DCJS report. I did walkthroughs with the lieutenant, one of the lieutenants at the time, going through the pictures that were specifically referenced in there, seeing where everything was improved. By the time I was here 4 years ago, that was already addressed. Walked through with the highway superintendent trying to locate a building for him as well, because we have issues with where that's located, size of the facility, life use for expectancy of the vehicles that are out there because we don't have appropriate coverage. We were looking at acquiring other properties that are nearby. We're keeping all this open. As was made reference in regards to Park and Rec, we're putting out a bid for a lot of money in regards to roof replacement. They'd like new facilities as well. But really, I think the board is in agreement. Our number 1 priority right now is in regards to infrastructure of our town, which is our water, our sewers, and our roads. And I think, yes, all these other are as well things that are needed. The fact of the matter is, unfortunately, not by this board's actions, but maybe by previous boards that we have no control over, things maybe weren't kept up with, but at this point, we're facing, like Councilman Lupernacci referenced, our 8 sewer districts, our 13 water districts. A lot of them are in need of repairs, either previously or in the next year, 2 years, 3-year plan. So like Councilman Lupernacci said as well, we're trying to engage in a grant writer. We have budgeted for it this year, as we budgeted for our 2 new police officers. We've referenced this DCJS. You brought up very valid points in regards to the shortfall of the manpower patrol. With the shift and bringing in the sheriff's department, the chief himself gave us numbers, which is to patrol the sector takes approximately, I believe it was 6.3 officers. So we could do 6, we make it happen. So even if we just go on that low end of 6, we're still where we should be. Is it full levels that we'd like to be? No. In reality, I think if this town were to play a lotto ticket and the town won Mega tonight or Powerball, we would have all the police we need and we would be at the salaries we need. We wouldn't talk about contracts. Highway would have everything.
All departments are short.
Everybody would have what they need. I think that there would be a lot more people working in the building on Friday, after we picked up the check. But unfortunately, it's just within the economy that we're facing, that we've still been facing, that we see on the markets daily. There's still a lot of instability that's out there. And with the 2% cap, whether we agree with it or disagree with it, we believe that we've taken an oath to live by it, to do our best to stay within it, while still being able to ensure that we're addressing safety concerns, efficiency in services and ensuring we're still delivering at least the same, if not more services for the dollar. So please keep doing the research and please keep coming up, because this is, as was said last week, this is what helps to bring progress. So thank you for doing your research and coming up.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Coxon? I just want to, you mentioned the lieutenant's positions? Yes. Yeah, there's currently one vacancy. We only have one vacancy within the lieutenant's ranks currently. There's still one on the books, although he is out on a line of duty injury. Yeah, disability. So that's not technically a vacancy. It's still filled, but he's out. But there is one vacancy that was created by the chief, by Lieutenant Kazari being promoted to chief. I don't want to go into too many further details with respect to this, but the chief has had discussions with this board with respect to filling that vacancy.
I see.
In other words, promoting one of the sergeants to a lieutenant.
And there was a
So it's on your table?
Yes, and that was brought up by the chief. So, and there was a lieutenant's exam, thank you, John, that the sergeants had taken.
Oh.
So there is a list of eligibles within the Carmel PD, and when the process begins, one of those sergeants, if we do, finalize the promotion, one of those sergeants, whoever's on the list, that will be interviewed will be promoted to lieutenant.
Good luck to them.
That's in the future, but I just want to let you know that the chief did bring that up with discussions with the board, and that's something we're looking at going forward.
That reflects that I try not to, unless I need a statistical number, I try not to make a discussion outside of my own personal research.
Right, because you're familiar with what we can discuss in public and what
Yes,
we can't
yes.
discuss.
I appreciate it.
You're familiar with that based on your past.
Sure.
And your current position as well.
As well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else want to come up? Okay, there being none, we do have a couple of announcements. Susie, I'm going to pass this down to you since you're on you and John are on the Recreation Committee.
The Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department 2016 winter classes. We have children's classes, Moms and Tots, preschool, mini tumbling, Pee Wee Picasso, Mad Science, Super Science, Sampler, pottery, paint, music, dancing, edible, creations, coffee with kids, little chefs, mini taekwondo, beginner fused glass. Oh, that sounds really neat. And junior mechanical engineering. And then for the youth, they have intro into knitting, pottery and paint, dance to be fit, mechanical engineering, yoga lattes, beginners fused class, learn to fence, belly dancing, horseback riding, stretch it out, ARC baby sitting course, ice skating lessons, and skiing snowboard club. The registrations are open now, and the Recreation Department at Sycamore Park is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can also mail in your registration form that you received in your booklet. And you can always call them 628-7888.
Okay, Christmas tree pickup. I've been making this an announcement for the past few weeks now. AAA Carting, which is our residential homeowner carter for your pickup for your trash. If your pickup, well, this day had already passed, so I didn't even have to announce that. Monday and Thursday collection pickups. Your Christmas tree pickup was on January 12th, which was yesterday. So the Tuesday and Friday collection pickups, your Christmas tree must be out, and it will be picked up on January 19th. So for Tuesday and Friday pickups, have your tree out at the curb on January 19th, and AAA Carting will pick that Christmas tree up from your property. Christmas tree pickup for R&S Waste Services. If you have a dumpster pickup, place your Christmas tree on the side of the dumpster. If you have curbside pickup, place your Christmas tree at the curb. Do not place trees in plastic bags or totes. All trees must be free of lights, tinsel, and ornaments, etc. R&S Waste phone number for Mike is 914-378-0100, extension 1829. If you want to ask any questions with respect to your tree, and R&S Waste picks up your trash. That's for the multifamily home.
Exactly, multifamily and condos.
Multifamily and condos are serviced by R&S Waste Services. So, one other announcement, the Carmel Town Hall will be closed this coming Monday, January 18th, 2016, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So this coming Monday, Town Hall will be closed. We will reopen the following day, January 19th at 8:30 a.m. for normal business hours. You read this, Sue?
Yep, I
That's
did.
that. That's that. Okay, anybody else have anything? Jonathan? you want to announce? You can think
I don't
of?
know, actually, I'm not sure if I did it last week, but in regards to Toys for Tots with Putnam County, Northern Westchester County, I'd like to thank all the volunteers who had come out, helped us with coordinating. I'd like to thank anyone who had donated, whether it be monetarily or a gift. We were able to collect over 40,000 toys and over $30,000. So a lot of people were able to have a great holiday in the area. Everything stays local, so thank you for all the support, and hope everyone had a great holiday season.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Frank, any announcements? No, Susie? No?
Nope,
John?
nothing.
Okay. We do have executive session this evening. We're going to be meeting with our town assessor, Glenn Drosy, and Scott McMillan from the assessing department. So we're going to be closing the town hall meeting from executive session. We're not coming back out here, so I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi and Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, good night, everyone. We'll see you next week, January 20th, for a town board voting meeting. Good night and be well.